Well, hi, it's Grandpa Ricky. Feeling kind of sad today because I found out yesterday that the youngest son of my third wife um, died very suddenly. And he left a wonderful wife and a boy by the name of Malcolm. He's, I think, 7. And you know, parents aren't supposed to bury their kids, and I hear that my third ex-wife is suffering. Oof. And when she is suffering and anybody's suffering, I breathe in their suffering as much as I can, and I breathe it out and give it to the trees. It's called glen. It's an ancient Buddhist practice from Tibet. But I want you to know Whan. He was a really neat kid. I first met him when he was in diapers. And he was, without a doubt, the most optimistic, cheery kid I had ever met. And incredibly smart and so quick. And he had such a funny sense of humor. And he was a charmer. You know, he had 2 bigger brothers, so he really had to learn how to use his smarts to, keep everything going easy for him. And he was incredibly creative. I used to take him up to a cabin with his mom and brothers and sisters. And God, it was funny watching him, and he would create these things with nails and hammers and sticks. And he grew up and eventually got into school, and school wasn't easy for him. He was like me, like so many of us. He didn't learn in straight lines. He learned in groks. He learned in gestalts. And school wasn't suited for him, and he wasn't suited for school. And he was incredibly wise for his age. And he said these profound things that were always appropriate. And it was because he was grabbing the whole gestalt. He could, and he was incredibly intuitive and empathetic. I would watch him when his brothers and sisters were suffering, and he was suffering sometimes more than they were because he was feeling it inside and he didn't quite know what to do with it. But anyway, I kind of lost touch with him after his mom and I divorced and everything, and I'd see him occasionally. And I saw him at his grandmother's funeral. And he said to me with great pleasure that he had planted over 1 million trees. He became a tree planter for a company called Brinkman's. And Brinkman's, I think, automatically recognized they had a very special person on their hands. And he went on to be a manager of their Ontario tree planting projects. And I don't know if you know about tree planting, but it's incredibly hard work. And he loved hard work. And he loved adventure, and he loved nature, and he loved life. And he must have had something to do with the planting of millions and millions and millions of trees. Because he did apparently all the jobs there are to do when one is planting trees, except I don't know if he even had anything to do with growing the young trees. But I am bereft. I'm bereft that we lost contact. I'm bereft that I wasn't kinder to him. I'm bereft about so many things right now. And it's really great because I'm not afraid to feel it. I'm not running away from it. I'm just staying with the memory of him and He's a phenomenal being, you know, and why people like Neil have a sudden heart attack and fall over dead. As a young man, is just beyond me, but there must be something much bigger. And I have great sadness for his family and happiness as well for the fact that Neil touched so many lives. He touched mine. I mean, he helped me be more optimistic. And in my family, being optimistic it's a piece of work. So I hope you really watch for people who are special and in the world, and they've taken the lid off, and they are who they are. I mean, once Neil said to me, he said, he said, school isn't for me, and I'm not for school. And he was right. He was absolutely right. And I remember saying to him, go for it, Neil. You're a smart kid. You're going to find your way. You're going to find your place. You'll find out how you can be useful. And he did. He did. He just sadly didn't stay around very long. Wasn't able to stay around very long. But I suspect that there's a greater wisdom to all this. I don't know what it is. It's too big for me. But Neo will always be in my heart. He's always been in my heart. He's always been one of my sub-personalities. And bringing Neil Whan energy to any tough situation is always a good energy. It's a good thing to do, to bring optimism and a kind of gung-ho spirit to living. So I miss you, Neil. You're gone from my sight, but you're in my heart. So thank you for watching these videos. I hope my suffering is useful to you and giving you some ideas on how you can suffer, because we all suffer, and how to contain it and not blame anybody or get angry about it. I mean, get angry about it enough to want to change it, but not splatter it out and make a big thing of it. So thank you very much for watching, and please tell your stories. The world really needs them now at this time more than ever before. We need to know how each other got through the tough times. So thanks a lot.